past couple of days, we have been learning about what is a personal narrative. Let's review. How do I write a personal narrative? Well, you're going to write about yourself. Remember, that's why it's personal. It's all about you. The emphasis should be on something you have experienced personally. You're going to write about a small moment. That way, you can include vivid details and figurative language about that moment. Don't try to write about a gigantic topic because you won't be able to narrow it down. You're going to tell this story from your point of view. That means I should see a lot of pronouns of I, me, mine. And you're going to write the same way you would tell the story to someone else. Make sure your narrative has a beginning, middle, and end. And don't forget about spelling and capitalization. Make it interesting. Think about it. Would you want to read it? Now, as we begin writing our personal narrative and brainstorming, during the brainstorming part of all of our writing, we're not going to focus on the spelling. I would rather you write the word and it be wrong, and then when we edit and revise, you can go back and look up the correct spelling of words you don't know. So if I wanted to write the word, let's say narrative, in my sentence and I didn't know how to spell it, I'll just sound it out, writing down the sounds that I hear, and then circle it so that the next, when you're editing and revising, you know, oh, that was the word that I didn't know how to spell, and you can go back and change it. But don't worry about the spelling when you're writing your rough drafts. So before we begin our writing activity, we're going to listen to the story Fireflies by Julie Brinklow. I love this book. The very first time I read this book, I was able to connect to the story immediately. My own personal memories of catching fireflies on late summer nights when I was growing up. My brother and sister and I would run around the backyard, dashing about, waving our hands in the air like nets, catching 2 or 10 hundreds of fireflies. We would thrust them into the jar and wave our hands for more. Well, the author's words capture my own memories perfectly. The way the author uses words and describes the experience to capture the fireflies, it helps me capture my own memories in a way that I would have difficulty expressing. That is why I chose this book for a mini lesson on personal narratives and put emotion into writing to allow it to become more interesting to the reader. Let's listen.
Fireflies by Julie Brinklow. On a summer evening, I looked up from dinner through the open window to the backyard. It was growing dark. My treehouse was a black shape in the tree, and I wouldn't go up there now. But something flickered there a moment. I looked, and it was gone. It flickered again over near the fence. Fireflies. "Don't let your dinner get cold," said Mama. I forked the meat and corn and potatoes into my mouth. "Please, may I go out? The fireflies." Mama smiled and Daddy nodded. "Go ahead," they said. I ran from the table down to the cellar to find a jar. I knew where to look, behind the stairs. The jars were dusty. I polished one clean on my shirt. Then I ran back up 2 steps at a time. Holes, I remembered, so they can breathe. And as quietly as I could, so she wouldn't catch me dulling them, I poked holes in the top of the jar with Mama's scissors. The screen door banged behind me as I ran from the house. If someone said, "Don't slam it," I wasn't listening. I called to my friends in the street, "Fireflies!" But they had come before me with polished jars, and others were coming behind. The sky was darker now. My ear rang with crickets, and my eyes stung from staring too long. I blinked hard as I watched them. Fireflies. Blinking on, blinking off, dipping low, soaring high above my head, making white patterns in the dark. We ran like crazy, barefoot in the grass. Catch them, we cried, grasping at the lights. Suddenly a voice called out above the others. I caught one, and it was my own. I thrust my hand to the jar and spread it open. The jar glowed like moonlight, and I held it in my hands. I felt a tremble of joy and shouted, I can catch hundreds! Then we dashed out, waving our hands in the air like nets, catching 2, 10s, hundreds of fireflies, thrusting them into jars, waving our hands for more. Then someone called from my house, It's time to come in now, and others called from other houses, and it was over. My friends took jars of fireflies to different homes. I climbed the stairs to my room and set the jar on a table by my bed. Mama kissed me and turned out the light. I caught hundreds, I said. Daddy called from the hallway. See you later, alligator. After a while, crocodile, I called back. I caught hundreds of fireflies. In the dark, I watched the fireflies from my bed. They blinked off and on, and the jar glowed like moonlight. But it was not the same. The fireflies beat their wings against the glass and fell to the bottom, and laid there. The light in the jar turned yellow, like a flashlight left on too long. I tried to swallow, but something in my throat would not go down. And the light grew dimmer, green, like moonlight under water. I shut my eyes tight and put the pillow over my head. They were my fireflies. I caught them. They made moonlight in my jar, but the jar was nearly dark. I flung off the covers. I went to the window, opened the jar, and aimed it at the stars. Fly! Then the jar began to glow, green, then gold, then white as the moon, and the fireflies poured out into the night. Fireflies, blinking on, blinking off, dipping low, soaring high above my head, making circles around the moon like stars dancing. I held the jar dark and empty in my hands. The moonlight and the fireflies swam in my tears, but I could feel myself smiling. The end. Thanks for listening.
Okay, so think about it. Think about the words that the author used. So on page 4, what if the author wrote, I ate my supper? Does that sound very interesting? No. But if you remember back on page 4, what the author did instead was they used vivid words and figurative language to help us, the readers, visualize exactly what was happening in the book. So instead, she wrote, I forked the meat and corn and potatoes into my mouth. We can see that. We can relate to that. Here's another one of my favorite examples. Instead of saying, I felt happy near the end of the book, the author wrote, I felt a tremble of joy and shouted, I can catch hundreds. When you write your personal narratives, I want you to think about how to use vivid words and figurative language to help the reader, me, visualize what is actually happening in your story. So today, you are going to bring up this graphic organizer, okay, after the lesson, and you're going to look back into your notebook from yesterday's lesson, and you're going to pick one memory. You are going to use complete sentences and fill in the graphic organizer to help you get started on your personal narrative story. You will begin by writing what story you're going to write about. These are incomplete sentences, okay? Then briefly explain what happened first, next, then, and finally. So, if I was to write a story about when I was little and how I would help my Grammy Gunther groom dogs at her house. So that's what my story is going to be about. First, I would help my Grammy get the dog on the grooming table so she could start to cut its hair. Next, it was my job to take the dog to get its bath and rinse it off and then dry it. Then, once it was dried, my Grammy would trim its nails. When she was done, I would brush the dog's hair to make it look nice and put bows in the hair. Finally, I would clean up all the dog hair and help take the dog to the owner when they came to the house. Complete sentences, and this is just a brief description of what happened first, next, then, and finally. Now that you filled out that first graphic organizer on your memory, we're going to write about the same memory, but with more detail. For this graphic organizer, we're not going to write in complete sentences. We're going to put lots of ideas, sensory details, and emotions, so that when we actually sit down to write, you can use this graphic organizer to help you make sure that you've explained all the details in each paragraph. So if I was to take that exact same idea of helping my Grammy Gunther, I would do this during the summertime, because that's when I stayed with my Grammy when I wasn't at school, Monday through Friday, because that's when she groomed her dogs, and sometimes Saturdays, from about 8 a.m. to about 2 p.m. Okay, every day. She had about 6 to 7 dogs a day that she would groom. Where my Grammy Gunther's house, and her grooming was all set up in her basement. I put more details in here about what would happen in the beginning, more details in here about the middle, and the end. I also listed some sensory. Remember our sensories? Okay, what you can hear, what you can taste, smell, see, and touch. I thought about the soft fur, seeing the change in the dog from when it first came to after it got its hair cut. You can't ever forget the smell of wet dog. But my emotions and feelings, I got so excited for every new dog. And I love dogs. And I was so proud because when I would take that dog upstairs, my Grammy would tell the owner that I was the one that bathed the dog and put bows in its hair. So it made me feel very proud. So again, I'm adding more details, and notice no complete sentences. That way I can fit more details in here so that I make sure that I include all of these when I write. So what is next? Now it's your turn. You're going to click on the graphic organizer activity, and you're going to complete the graphic organizers on one, remember, one of your memories that you brainstormed yesterday. Then you will upload the graphic organizers to be graded. Then you will complete the worksheet on fireflies. You're going to follow the direction on each sheet, and you're going to be practicing using vivid words and descriptive language.